this together, what can I say?
It's worth every second, baby. Every laborious second.
What's happening, Tampa? How you
Hey, guys!
Tampa, right?
Yes.
Check in. This
Tampa's
week.
in Italy, right?
We've been traveling a lot. We're severely jet lagged, so this could go horribly long.
And we went scuba diving with sharks this morning. So, and outside of Los Angeles, which is an amazing thing, because normally you think that's where all the sharks are.
Yeah.
Bad jokes I'm going to keep just all day long. It's terrible.
I wasn't even listening. Sorry, I tuned out for a second.
No. Welcome to my world.
Oh my God. So it's great to be back here. You guys
Yeah.
are so cool. I love this town, even though it's hot and sticky.
But it's nice. It's like a bonding thing. I feel like we all kind of melt together. You know? Just everybody becomes this giant amorphous blob of stink and stick.
Yeah.
It's nice.
She mentioned hot and sticky a few minutes ago as we're getting into the elevator, and I thought she said hot and stinky.
I realized as you get older, that's one of the most important things you can have is
Wow.
hot and stinky.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're here talking about whatever you guys want to talk
Who
about.
has no idea who we are?
It's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice rest.
Yes. Take a nap for us.
Why don't you tell them who you are, honey?
Hello, my name is Steve Blum. I'm a voiceover god. I'm Mary Elizabeth Mcglynn, and I am a singer. I do some songs. I did all the songs for Silent Hill, which was really fun. And this great game called Colot. And I think like someone Ace Combat. Yeah, right?
Cool.
Oh, it's a cool game, right? Yeah. And Ace Combat something. And then Ace Combat something.
We're 35.
And then a voiceover actor. I was, my brain's a 1K tone. The Major from Ghost in the Shell for a long time. And Kurenai and every incidental on the planet for Naruto, which I directed for 10 years, which I love Naruto. It was awesome. I'm currently very evil Governor Price on Star Wars Rebels, which is a lot of fun. And anytime you hear someone yell, "Stop, thief!" on Tangled, the series, that's me. Because I'm the voice director of Tangled, the series now. And Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz with Steve Blum and Jess Arnell and Lorraine Newman and Kari Walgren and J.P. Karliak and Tom Kenny and Gray Delisle or Gray Griffin. What else? Oh, any D&D fans. Woo! Critters! So a big, huge now D&D fan, and I played Zara for a couple sessions on Critical Role, which was lovely.
For Critical Role!
So that's what I do. I'm a big old nerd, and I love coming to conventions because I feel like we're all one. We are the Borg, we are the horde of nerddom, and we're very strong. People don't remember, they don't know that, but we're very strong. Especially when we're all together. So it's so much fun to be here again and to look out at so many wonderful faces that I've already met now in line, and so it's kind of fantastic and wonderful, and I'm gonna babble. So this is Tim is here, a guy that I love. Oh, I also directed Cowboy Bebop. Segue over, and I fell so madly in love with this man's voice as Spike Spiegel that I said if we ever see Julia, the girlfriend he kept talking about, I would play her with her, and even if she had a voice like this, I was going to cast myself because I was so in love, and now we're actually together in real life. So yay, Spike and Julia.
I'm so far above my pay grade. No, that's one of the best things about this whole business is that we ended up together. It's amazing. We've been friends for almost 20 years, and life just made way about 3 years ago for us to be together as a couple. So, yeah, it's amazing. Who says anime doesn't give back?
Talk about residuals.
Right? I know. Never made a penny on Cowboy Bebop, but I got her, so it's the best consolation prize in the world. No, she's awesome. We go scuba diving in giant fish tanks with sharks. It's fantastic. We do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Dudes, you gotta do that. It was really awesome.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the aquarium, it's a great aquarium too.
Yeah,
Shout out to the Florida aquariums.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And to Jackson and Jamie, who took such good care of us.
Yeah, they're awesome. Maybe you'll meet them on Sunday. They're going to come here and troll us, so we'll call them out big time.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you who don't know me, go back to sleep, it doesn't matter. I'm Steve Blum. I've been a voice actor for almost 30 years now, and began accidentally. I was a really bad musician in the 80s playing R&B music opening for heavy metal acts. And
Tell them what you wore.
I wore spandex, shaved half of my head, and
But party in the back, you had a big mullet, right?
I had a big old mullet, yeah. That was terrifying. It was just terrifying. And we sucked. We really weren't very good. But we had a lot of... No, we weren't. You didn't see that band. It was bad. No, but we had a lot of fun. And somehow I ended up in the mailroom of a film company called Empire Entertainment. We made movies like Reanimator and Ghoulies. And I happened to have the deepest voice in the mailroom, and they were looking for a guy who did deep voice creature stuff, and I would spend a lot of my time in the mailroom going and so they offered me free breakfast and lunch to try out to do this stuff, and I had no idea that it was even something viable as a profession. I just thought it'd be fun to make stupid noises into a microphone. I learned that you really have to learn how to act, to voice act, and I had to learn that on the job, and she taught me a lot of that later on. But I ended up going from an anime called The Guyver, my very first one. Back in the day.
MacGyver?
Not MacGyver, I was The Guyver.
MacGyver!
Yeah, I was The Guyver. I've since learned how to make things with toothpicks and razor blades and gum. Yeah, built a car with that once. But it ended up morphing into a whole career. Eventually, I became an executive at that same film company many years later and realized the only thing that really made me happy was doing voiceover for almost nothing, which I had continued to do that whole time. And so I booked the voice of 7-Eleven. I was that guy who said, "Oh, thank heaven." And I thought, all right, now's the time to make the jump because everybody in the film business is mean. And I starved for a few years, but I loved voiceover, and I continued doing it, and now I do a lot of video games. I've done over 400 video games, and...
He has the Guinness World Record for number of roles in video games.
Which is very strange. I still don't know how that happened. But then ended up doing shows like Transformers Prime, Starscream, and Green Goblin and Spectacular Spider-Man, and Tom from Toonami, and... Wolverine for a lot of years, Bob. And most recently, Zebralius from Star Wars Rebels. So we've had a great time so far, and we hope that we get to do this till we have plots. So I want to do it till I'm older than Stan Lee. That's my goal. Yeah, Excelsior, and whatever else goes with that.
That's right.
So we're going to open up to you guys, and we want to hear what's on your minds. I don't know if we have a microphone or we just do
I'd say
out.
you guys use your voices.
Yes.
Your words, Gary.
Yeah, so you choose the first one, ladies first.
Oh, all right. Yes.
So I heard both of you were coming, so I decided to make this my first convention.
Yay!
Welcome, It never will end.
I was not. So you probably get this a million times, so now it's 1,000,001. For someone who really wants to throw themselves out into the voice acting industry and just kind of go with it for everything forward, what are some good first steps to really kind of throw yourself out there and meet interesting people and just kind of get your voice literally heard?
Before you get your voice heard, you have to make sure that you know how to voice act. That's the biggest misconception that people have when they go into this industry, is they think that if they have a bunch of voices, it's great to have a bunch of cool voices, but if you don't have the acting chops underneath that or improv skills underneath that, you don't want to be putting yourself out there yet. It takes time, and you just have to be patient to do that. Like anything else, it's a skill that you have to learn, skill set. So I would recommend as a very first step to go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It's free, which is the greatest thing of all, especially if you don't know if it's something that you want to do. Go there first. It's written by D. Bradley Baker, who's one of our dear friends and one of the greatest voice actors in the world. And it's an overview of what the industry is and how it functions and what it's really like to be a voice actor and what you have to know to do that. Once you go through all that, which could take you 6 months because there's a lot of information there are a lot of other ways to learn how to do the craft of voiceover, and there are a lot of great teachers out there. We're actually going to be starting up a business doing that at some point. We're creating a website right now, and we're going to launch in the fall. And it's going to be very reasonably priced, especially in the beginning for people who just want to try it. I guess the thing that makes me more angry than anything else in this industry is when somebody says that they want to learn how to do voiceover. There are a lot of places that will say, okay, I can teach you for $3,000 and I'll guarantee that you get auditions or I'll guarantee that you get a job. And nobody can guarantee you any of that. And generally, a lot of these places that want to teach you voiceover, the instructors have never done voiceover on a professional level. So I've always believed that the best way to learn is to work with somebody who does it every single day. And so we're going to start to create something like that. Mary's going to be teaching some classes with me. So we're going to start out with webinars and on a very small scale and hopefully build it into something bigger later on. But there's a lot of brilliant teachers out there. Crispin Freeman, Bob Bergen. There's a lot of really, really great. Yeah, Charlie Adler does classes, Kyle Bear. So you have to find the right class for you too. But start with iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. That'll get you going. It won't cost you a dime.
And then once you do that, I mean, when we started in the industry, back when we were kids, we didn't have this series of tubes called the internet. And now they do. And back in 1902. No. So now there are, and what the industry, how much the industry has changed, is that they want people with a big Twitter following. They want people who are on YouTube. So that's a really great free way for you to, or is YouTube free? I don't know. But it is, right? So you can set up your own channel and start doing your own stuff, you know? I mean, even if it's just, you know, shooting comic books and getting your voice out there behind them and doing the voice of it and do your own original material and build an audience that way and build experience that way. Because the best way to learn outside of class is just by doing it. You just do it, you know? And listen to people and borrow from people. I won't say steal, but, you know, John Williams borrowed from Holst for the planets to do Lord Vader, you know? So there's a great thing about find your heroes and mimic and parrot and learn how to stretch your own voice. It's an instrument like anything else, and the more proficient you get with it, the better an actor you will be as well. And the more varied your library will be of voices and characters that you can bring to a session. So.
Yeah, do it in front of kids too, because they are the most honest people on the planet.
Yeah,
and
like, you suck!
Yeah, they will literally.
Yes, I do.
They will literally tell you that. I used to read for my kids in their schools when they were young, and I was already a professional working voice actor, and I would take these Dr. Seuss books and I'd read the snot out of them, and do all the character voices and stuff. And the kids would literally stop me in the middle of a sentence. They go, "No, Mr. Blum, that isn't right. Do it again." And they became my directors and my teachers. So don't be afraid to get some negative input from your stuff too, because that could actually be the thing that really gets you to the next stage to learn and grow and get better.
Yeah, and the greatest thing is be prepared and embrace failure. Because if you're not ready to fail, if you're too afraid to fail, you'll never do anything. And this is not just voiceover, it's across the board life-wise. Fail, get ready to fail, fall into failure. Failure is the greatest teaching agent you could possibly have in your life. See, he learned something. Thank you.
Right there in front of us all.
It's a wonderful thing. Be brave enough to fail in life, because you will learn so much. Be brave and fail. Fail gloriously. Yeah.
All right,
welcome.
I'm going to choose you all the way over here. See you again. I really am.
How was it like working for Logic and being in front of your story?
Oh man.
Have you seen the new video?
Yeah, I've seen the new Take It Back video.
We're both in that.
We're both in the new
Yeah.
Everybody music video on his album. The song called Take It Back. Logic is an amazing guy. He's, you can tell I fly his flag all the time. He's yeah, right? Swag. He's become one of my best friends. For those of you who don't know Logic, he's a rap artist and a young guy, and he started out from nothing in Maryland and was just doing mixtapes on his own just because he loved it and he had something to say. And he starts every concert off with peace, love, and positivity, which you don't hear in the rap world very often. He's also a huge anime nerd and a big gamer. And so he tracked me down through my agent, and he said that watching some of the shows that we had worked on got him through some really rough times growing up in a gang environment, in a really dangerous environment, drugs and violence and everything else. And so he attributed his ability to get through that and to be creative to his connection with anime and video games and everything else that we love. And so he asked me if I'd be part of his album, the Incredible True Story album, and he wrote these vignettes that was loosely based on Tom from Toonami and Spike from Cowboy Bebop. And he created this character called Quentin Thomas for me, and so we did these vignettes throughout the entire album, and I ended up doing a panel with him at New York Comic Con a few years ago, and it was an amazing thing because half of the panel room was hardcore hip-hop fans. The other half was hardcore anime fans. And it was so funny to see these two groups of people sitting in the audience kind of looking at each other and knowing that deep inside, the hip-hop fans are going, well, I like anime, man, but I can't tell any of my friends. And and the anime people going, well, I like hip-hop, but I don't know if that's cool to talk to my friends about that. So it was like the chocolate and peanut butter thing coming together. And he's uniting these worldwide communities of people that were afraid to talk to each other, and it's really opened up a forum for people to talk about who they are, who they really are. And he's mixed race also, so he addresses those issues, which we address a lot in our community too.
And he deals with depression, and he talks openly about that.
About anxiety and depression. Yeah, a lot of things that we talk about. There's a song called Anxiety on his album, On Everybody, and there's a song that's literally, the name of the song is the phone number for the suicide hotline. Because so many of us have struggled with that at one point or another in our lives, and he wanted to bring it out in the forefront and make it an open conversation that we're all okay to talk about.
Yeah, and that you're not alone. It's the most important thing, and he's always huge about that you're not alone, And it's okay to struggle with it, and just keep reaching out. Just reach out to people.
Yeah, so Logic has been a great influence on my life. I call him my little brother. He's very dear to me, and he plays D&D with us.
Yeah.
He actually, he's on our campaign.
Yeah,
so.
he plays a druid.
He's always looking for a gambling establishment.
Yes, he goes, is there a gambling establishment nearby?
He's hilarious, yeah. So if you haven't heard of Logic, check him out. He's amazing. He's on tour right now. He might be coming to you soon. I think he already played here, but he'll be coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you choose somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about the movie Ghost in the Shell?
I will let you know when I see it. We've been traveling so much, and it's so hard, and then I just get and I've got all this new work I'm so grateful for, and I keep hoping I'll get on a plane and it'll be on a plane, because it's not available to rent yet. It's out of the theaters, so I missed my window to see it, and the minute I do, I love Scarlett Johansson, and I hear that it's okay? Yeah, what if you went into it without any passionate love for the series? You just went in would it, okay? It's just okay? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're the true nature.
Well, stop, don't stop. No, I was in, my nephew works as a chef, a sous chef at Bobby Flay's restaurant in New York, and I was sitting there with Ashley Johnson because we were going to go see Sarah Bareilles in Waitress, and random story. And so Parker, my nephew, came out of the kitchen and said, so Scarlett Johansson is in the kitchen right now, and I want to go up to her and say, my aunt is really the major and you're not the major. I was like, do you like your job? Because you would lose your job. She's standing next to Bobby Flay right now, and that would be a bad thing. But no, so we were in the same vicinity at one point or another, which was fun.
Okay, I'm you right here. Yes, sir.
I have two sets of quick questions I want to ask. First, with Steve Blum. What's your personal favorite Spike Spiegel centric episode in Cowboy Bebop, and who is going to win the fight, Spike Spiegel or Mugen?
Oh man, thank you. Man, it's hard to pick an episode. One of the ones that we really love is Toys in the Attic.
Yeah.
As a cast, we just love that because it's so random and weird, and it's such a great homage to sci-fi that we love.
It's the only episode where it's just them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and it's sort of different. It's sort of like a one-off. It's fun. Love Mushroom Samba too because it's so bizarre. It's just crazy. I love Ed singing, and yeah, it's all great. And I love a movie too. The movie was amazing. And a fight between Spike and Mugen, I don't know. I have a feeling Spike would win just because it would sort of be like the Indiana Jones thing where he's, flipping a bunch of stuff around. Spike would just pick up the gun and shoot him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mary,
Yeah.
what was your personal favorite thing that when you were voicing Major in Ghost in the Cell, Stand Alone Complex? And my second question would be, what was your favorite funny parts when you voiced Noriko Kashiwagi in Persona 4?
Oh, okay. My favorite part of doing the Major was making the science sound like I knew what I was talking about. Because I had no clue. It was like reading a manual in Japanese, and I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. And I would say that at the end of every take, I was, did it sound like I knew what I was talking about? Because I don't know what I'm talking about at all. And it was also really fun. That was when I was an on-camera actor. I played a lot of battered women, a lot of women that needed to be rescued. I was rescued by Scott Bakula, by Angela Lansbury, by Lorenzo Lamas, by, I don't know, Everett Chuck Norris. Love you, Chuck!
Very good kisser, apparently.
That's another story for a martini. Anyway, love you, Chuck! After a while, it got to be, it sort of seeps into your psyche, It's just like, why do I have to keep playing all these women that are battered and abused and need rescuing? And then all of a sudden, I went to the voiceover world, and the Major was sort of my first big role after, I think, El Hazard, the Fushigi Yuki, which was great, but I played a man in that, So to play a really strong cybernetic woman was pretty fantastic, and someone who actually didn't need to be rescued all the time, and was the only thing maybe she needed to be rescued from was herself. And that was unbelievably empowering for me as a woman. I just had never played anything like that before, and she made me a stronger person. Which is great, and which is so much fun about acting. It's also the dark side when you play like the Hannibal Lecters and the dark creepy, so you just have to skirt away from that so it doesn't seep into your life. But that was really one of my most favorite things about playing her.
The best character that you voiced?
Oh, thanks. It was fun. Although I do love Governor Price. She has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. She's just awful.
Oh, yes,
That's
she
so
does.
fun.
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
Yeah. She can. And what was the second question?
The second question was how was it like when you voiced the cougar-esque teacher in Persona 4? When you
Oh, she was great. I would just go in and she's all boobs, so it's just, I just think the back problems this woman would have were she real would just be so awful, I just think she'd do nothing but fall over all the time. I always saw them as sort of like they're inflatable, It's just, she would bounce up like a Macy's Day Parade, teaching students everywhere, stay in school. So that was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. It's crazy. I'm going for the Fez.
Yes.
I'm a big Blizzard Entertainment fan,
Yay!
and
Nice.
we both play characters.
Yeah.
Steve, my two favorite characters that you voice actually are Zoltan Cool and Abathur.
Oh, nice. Spinning strands. Yeah, I love him.
What is it like working with Blizzard?
Blizzard's amazing. They brought me on to direct recently for a while. I've been doing a lot of Heroes of the Storm, bringing in new characters, which is fun, and I got to direct most of the male necromancer that's going into Diablo 3, which is awesome. And the whole place it's just one of these beautiful companies, and that I've learned so much from Andrea Toyas, who's their primo amazing director, and she's the one who brought me in for Diablo 3 to play the female crusader, which was my first experience with Blizzard. And since then, I just love the company. I love working for them. BlizzCon is one of the coolest, wackiest, craziest conventions I've ever been to. It's so big and wild, and it's a great company. It's a company that makes you feel wonderful about the work that you do and about the community that you're a part of. So Blizzard to me is one of those shining beacon companies that just makes you happy to do what you do, you know?
Yeah, even when we go in to play characters that are physically painful to play, they make sure that we're taken care of. There's a level of care in that company that transcends most companies in the industry. And Andrea Toyas is a great example of that. She's there, I think she's head of
She just got, yeah, they
casting, or head of
she's head of
voiceover or
she's the
something.
voiceover.
Yeah, she's directed us on most of our stuff throughout the years, and it's just a joy to walk into that room. We have such a great time, and the level of care for the product itself is very deep, and they really want to make sure that the fans have a good experience. And we talk about that in the booth before we do Word 1, and you don't see that in every situation. There's sometimes in video games where we walk in and they give you a giant stack of paper. They say, all right, we got to get through 3,000 lines today, go. And even if we do have to do that in there, the conversation is always, well, we took some feedback from the fans, and so we want to do a couple tweaks on the character. Are you okay with that? We go, what, really? You're going to collaborate with us? We're just the voice monkeys. But they really care about what we think and what you guys think. And that, to me, is the sign of a company that's doing things the right way. They really, really care about the product. So it's awesome. Okay, I'm going to pick somebody. In the pink, I got to choose you, dude, because it's just bold.
Speaking of physical pain, this is for either of you, but I'm going to use Steve as an example. I remember watching an interview with you where you said you were auditioning for a role and you strained your voice so much, I forget what you did exactly, but you ended up passing out as a result. My question is, how often does that happen, and how long does it usually take to recover?
Fortunately, the passing out thing has only happened a couple times. The worst instance of that was auditioning for one of the Spider-Man games. I was one of the villains in the Spider-Man games. And I auditioned for this character, and I'm literally halfway through a scream. I'm just going, ah! And all of a sudden it just started going dark. And you just hear bam, bam, in the room. And the next thing I knew, the director and the engineer were in the room shaking me, trying to make sure that I was awake and alive, and I had knocked stuff over in there. And that wasn't the worst part of it. I get up from this thing, I continued on, I ended up auditioning for 2 or 3 more characters, caught my breath. And the worst thing was that about 2 or 3 months later, I was in another recording studio with another director, and she goes, oh, I gotta play you something. I went, oh no. She hits the play button, I just hear, ah! And I just hear the whole thing, and the drama of them run, you could hear them, they left the microphone on for the entire thing, you could hear them opening and slamming the door and coming into the room and shaking, and they shook me awake, and they said, are you all right? And I said, I think I almost passed out. And they said, no, you did pass out. So I get this whole thing, and they think it's funny to pass this around from studio to studio. So it was kind of horrifying. But that actually didn't harm me in any way, fortunately. I was able to get through that, and I booked one of the characters. I didn't book that one, but I booked one of the bad guys. So there was a happy ending to that story. But there have been times voicing characters like Wolverine, or some creature things that I've done, or some soldier things that I've done, where I've blown my throat out and it'll take a week to recover. Some of our friends have ended up with polyps on their vocal cords and have taken months or years to recover, and some have not recovered fully. So we're actually fighting for a new contract in the video game world to limit the screaming sessions to 2 hours so that doesn't happen. But yeah, the recovery time can be intense, and especially for you new aspiring voice actors, make sure that you know how to scream before you start doing that. Once you start doing, there's nothing you can do to really stop the pain, but you can lessen it, and you can lessen the damage by knowing how to do it and where to do it from with your diaphragm.
Yeah, and it's not just the screaming too, it's just breathing. It's just like, all right, we need some running efforts. You know, it's like, okay. And all of a sudden, like, I need a minute.
Yeah.
Ooh, because everything just, you start swimming because you hyperventilate, and it's very common.
Fred Tatasciore and I, who plays the Hulk, he and I passed out on the same day. We're so proud of him.
I imagine it would be nightmarish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You can hurt yourself pretty bad.
You get really excited, and the adrenaline starts going, and you're in a voiceover gig, and it's amazing, and you still have to take care of yourself and know your limits. When you start to push yourself too hard and you start to see the little spots, you know, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to stop.
Thank you so much. I have to leave, actually.
Sorry.
Thanks for coming. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Oh, okay. Oh, I can't decide. Yeah, way in the back, in the corner.
This question is for Steve.
Yes.
Another question.
Well, everyone's heard a lot of performances and a lot of favorites, but as a voice actor, what was the most challenging role for you to play, and what did you do to kind of overcome the challenges of playing that specific role?
Well, there have certainly been a lot of physical challenges, like we were just talking about, Wolverine being a very good example of that, where it hurts my whole body doing that stuff, and I don't have the healing factor, so it's pretty rough. But as an actor, the bigger question is, as an actor, what was the most difficult? And I would say the most difficult character really was Spike in the Cowboy Bebop movie, because I had to get vulnerable. There was a scene where Spike is in a cell next to Elektra, if you guys remember that. And he's talking about his love for Julia and how painful that was, and he doesn't like talking about that kind of stuff, as I didn't. It was very, very difficult for me to go to that vulnerable place, and I had to learn how to do that as a professional voice actor. And it's scary to be that vulnerable. It's scary to talk about your feelings, what really hurts you deep inside. And Mary was the director there, and she gently guided me through that process. And I didn't think I was going to get through it. I didn't think I was going to give the performance that I really wanted to give. I didn't know how. I wasn't a classically trained actor, and I didn't really know how to access that vulnerable place. And she just said, make it real. You know, I don't remember what your advice was at that moment. But
I just said, I feel like we're skating on the surface of this, and we just need to keep sinking lower and deeper and deeper.
Yeah, and to find something real in my life that I could connect to that made me feel that pain. And we all have it. We all have that place, but we're not all willing to go to that place. So that was a transformative moment for me, and it changed the rest of my career, I think. It made me a better actor, it made me more available to go to that place with other characters too. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hockey stick. Yeah, do hockey stick.
Hockey stick.
All right. Another one for Steve. Just quick question. Sorry, Mary. Steve, how many times did you have to, during BulletStorm, how many times did you have to stop to laugh at the lines that you were given as Grace?
I think we probably laughed for 3 hours and 35 minutes and recorded for the other 20, I don't do math, 25 minutes. Yeah, for the other, we probably recorded for 20, no. It was rough. We were laughing so hard. I can't say any lines from that because this is a PG-13 panel, but yeah, we made up new cuss words in that. And that to me is one of the funniest things we can possibly do. We spent a good part of one session creating an ad that went online to advertise the game, and basically I was insulting the player into buying it. It was like, get off your mom's couch and buy this thing, go through her purse and whatever it was, and calling you all kinds of terrible names that I can't repeat here, but they were so awesome. So yeah, we laughed a lot, and they made up a lot of that stuff. I think they gave me some license to create some of the words too, but we did that as a collaborative group of dysfunctional 8-year-olds and old kids.
Okay, we're gonna do a lightning round because I can't believe we only have 5 minutes left. That's wrong. That's so wrong. We can't extend for another 10?
We can't? We don't have the room? Oh,
We
man.
do?
It's not going to be as much fun as this one.
Bring him in. Who's coming in? Ray?
Oh,
I
Ray?
don't know who that is.
We haven't met him, so we don't care.
Final Fantasy
No, we heard
foot.
Ray's okay.
Okay, we're gonna do a lightning round.
All right.
Hat up.
How was it for both of you working on the Doc Hack franchise?
Sucked, I don't remember it. No. It was awesome.
Welcome to Netscom. I love Doc.
He was awesome.
Helva was great. Helva would come in and be like, good luck, you're all gonna die. Going to the bar.
Very meta. Yeah, how about you right here?
What's your favorite Silent Hill song to sing?
Oh, Room of Angel, I think. The lullaby about how much you hate your mom is pretty special. Yes.
I just wanted to say I'm her mom, so.
Oh,
awesome.
That's nice. You look
Yay
like
for
Debbie
moms.
Derryberry. Don't you look like Debbie Derryberry?
Yeah, you do, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Make it quicker, she's gonna shove that thing in my ear.
But who do you think is better, Spike or Roger?
Can't we all just get along?
Spike, next question.
Right here, sir, yes.
If Wolverine just showed up in Injustice 2, would he join Batman or Superman?
He'd probably kill them both. Oh, you go first, babe.
Eric Trump. Okay. Twilight. Are you Twilight? Yeah, that's awesome. Yes. Sure.
Steve, when they cast you as great teacher Onizuka,
Yes.
did they give you one role or like 7?
I don't remember, and no, I was not wearing pants. Great.
Steve, I came and saw you at Hallmat last year in Orlando. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you then.
Uh-oh.
What's the status of Megas XLR?
Still nice. Chicks dig giant robots.
We don't know.
Yeah, right here in the front.
This is something, it's the questions for Steve, but Barrett can share with it. Steve, you remember a few years back doing some little voice clips for a streaming group called Blind Sauce?
That sounds familiar.
Blind Sauce.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We just had I'm not part of the team, I'm just one of the fans. They just had a charity stream from BCRF. They raised 6 figures.
Wow.
Cancer Research Foundation.
Awesome.
Yay. Oh,
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Better make this good.
Oh, I just got to direct Diane Keaton, and that kind of blew my brain apart. We hugged at the end, and she goes, "Oh, I felt your boobs." I was like, so I'm good. I'm fine, and I'm just going to go into a corner and cry. There are so many wonderful. I mean, directing Steve. There's so many. Every day I get to direct. Mandy Moore is the most wonderful. She wears her heart in her voice, and I'm so lucky, and I can direct, anybody, and I love what I do so much, so every day is just a dream job, every day.
Liam O'Brien.
Yeah.
You look just like
You look like Liam O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great, he's a good looking man.
Jersey.
Barrett.
Yeah.
How did you like working with Akira Nakano?
Akira is amazing. We're huge in Russia. Nas vidanya. I guess because Russia really is Silent Hill in November. Because the sun never rises, it's foggy, and it's amazing. Akira is amazing. He's bright, happy, light. All the dark stuff that he does he's got the most wonderful laugh, and he's the most positive, collaborative, amazing musician. It's an absolute honor, and I can't wait to work with him again.
Amazing guy. How about you in the back with the epic beard? Yes, Sue.
Which characters did you have the most fun playing in the games?
The games, oh man, so many. I gotta pick one. Tank to MC Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Johanna from Crusader. I love her. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You two have worked with. Sorry. You two have worked with basically everyone. If there's of the people you haven't worked with, who would you like to work with in the future?
Eddie Izzard.
Oh, that's good.
And who's coming in next? Ray Chase.
Yeah. I want to work with Ray too. I haven't met him yet. Yeah, I really want to work with him.
Yeah, me too.
Max Middleman. I worked with Max. He's awesome.
I know, you worked with Max.
He's awesome. I wanted to work with Robin Williams, and I didn't get a chance.
I know.
I'm bummed about that. Morgan Freeman. I would love to work with Morgan.
I met Morgan Freeman, and he was working in a studio next to it, and he was like I was like, I have to meet, because I try not to, it's in LA, try and be cool, and he was turning away, and I was like, Mr. Freeman, and he jumped, turned around, and looked at me, and I was like, hi, Mr. Freeman, I just had to shake your hand, and he said, a bright light. And I said, on a beautiful day. He said, a bright light on a beautiful day. That's what you are. And I was like, and I floated away on that teacher's boobs. And I think we have to end it there. I'm so sorry. We have more panels, so if you're here this weekend, please come and talk to us, and come and just say hi, and it's so nice to have us here.
And love up on a staff member. Tell us.
Yes.